What's up, witches? All right, people, welcome back.
Man.
Oh, so, okay. Right out of the
Right
rip.
out of the rip, okay.
I thought of an intro for us.
Okay.
What's up, witches?
Yeah, okay.
But I was like, yeah, maybe that's not very family friendly. So,
No, I like it.
anyways,
What's
welcome
up,
back. We are embarking on chapter number 3
Chapter number 3.
of The Sorcerer's Stone, called The Letters to Noah.
The Letters to Noah.
Quick
I'm
little
excited.
recap,
Yeah.
as we've only read 2 chapters, so
Yeah.
um,
Not a whole lot's been happening.
where we left off was Harry getting in trouble for the vanishing glass, and yeah, so to get right into it, he was like, longest grounding I guess you could have. We're into summer break now.
Yeah.
You kind of get more of how Harry's summers are, where it's just like, yeah, all of Dudley's friends are there and they're just ganging up on him.
Yeah.
Which actually, I know it's super early, but leads me to my favorite line of the
Go
chapter.
right into it.
When they're talking about giving people swirlies.
Yeah.
Harry's the poor toilet's never had anything that horrible as your head down it. It might be sick. It's just like, you get him. And then, he runs before Dudley can figure out what he said.
Yeah.
So into that,
Oh,
a couple other things that I highlighted is you got Mrs. Fig got ran over, so that was tough.
Yeah.
Funny.
That was tough.
And
Rough day for her.
so yeah, then we just kind of like a brief. They're giving you just like, hey, this is what goes on in the summer,
Yeah. Just an overview.
Yeah, and then it's just like, and then you
Summer.
get to that little break, and then it was just like, okay, here's where the story actually starts. So
Yeah.
they're in the kitchen, they're hanging out, whatever, making Harry cook, I'm sure. But they're sitting there, and then Dursley's like, "Oh, go get the mail," and then he was like, "I don't want to. You make it," and then he was like, "Poke him with your stick." That stupid stick, like that's a terrible idea for a school.
Right.
Get just like, shut up.
Right. It's like Catholics are like nuns and rulers,
Right.
from what I've heard.
Just like a little unnecessary for the school, but the school sounds unnecessary.
Yeah, the school
So,
itself.
Then you go fast forward just a little bit, and what do you know? Harry has a letter.
Oh,
And he's
a
never
letter.
had mail before, which is weird. Like, why would you? Like, my question is, one, why wouldn't you open it in the hallway? But then my
Right.
answer to that is like, well, he's never had a letter before.
Yeah, maybe.
He wasn't thinking, oh, I need to be sneaky about
Right.
this. Like, I'm not going to be able to see it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Because, like, I mean, maybe one time if he gets the mail off and he opened it and got in trouble for it.
That's true.
And then he's like, "Yep, never doing that again."
Yep, that's not happening. And then we get the first glimpse of the Hogwarts houses on the coat of arms. So
Yep.
he notices there's a lion, eagle, badger, and snake with the big H, and then
Big H.
the big H.
Big H.
Our first mention of Aunt March
Yep.
was right there. That's something I noticed when I was reading it. And Marge is ill, and I was like, yeah.
Well,
And
don't
then you
worry,
just
so-
get a fight. It's
Yeah.
like, wait, why does Harry have mail? Harry
Right.
shouldn't get anything.
Yeah.
So there's
Man.
that, and then he's like, get out. And I thought another little funny scene, which would have been funny, a good cinematic moment you
Yeah.
could have had, was them like trying to fight over like who gets, and like, what's Harry doing fighting? Like, you're not gonna outmuscle anybody.
Right. You're a twig.
Yeah, you're a twig, and he is a pig.
There you go.
So and then you really start to get, Uncle Vernon starting to get, suspicious about things. Are they
Yeah.
watching us? Are they spying us? What are we going to do? And then it just kind of spirals, and that's where the rest of the chapter goes. So first he just is like, I'm going to burn it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. just
And then they're like,
a
hey,
letter.
we'll move him upstairs. Maybe they won't know he's up there.
Right.
Like, they know he's under the cat.
Right. It's addressed to the cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, they know.
They know. But he's like, yeah, it's fine. It's not going to happen. If we just ignore it, nothing will go wrong. That is great
exactly.
advice to take in life. Never.
Right.
Never take that advice. If something's not good, fix it.
Fix it.
Because it
deal
will
with it.
get worse at some point. So it gets moved up.
Yep.
And it's basically just a graveyard of his crap.
Yeah,
Dudley's old crap.
old shenanigans.
Yeah, but he's really upset.
Yeah.
That Harry's within that room with all the stuff he never touches.
Exactly.
But that's just, typical temper tantrum there.
Yeah.
So next day, he gets another one, and I always thought it was 3 next, but he gets one twice,
Okay,
and then it gets moved upstairs.
Up to upstairs.
And then after that one, he's like, well, I'll just, camp out.
Oh yeah, wait for it.
So I'm from Dursley's perspective, Vernon. He's just like, okay, step 1, ignore it, didn't work.
Didn't work.
I'll burn it. We'll move him. Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
I'll wait for the mailman and give him a good telling off.
Right.
Doesn't work. And then he goes to boarding up.
Oh yeah, like the
thing. Which
I
is
mean, in the
step,
movie, it's like a slot. I don't know if they're like that in Britain.
I would maybe think. But then he goes to boarding up like any crack.
Yeah.
And then they come into eggs, which was funny.
That was.
And then
I wish they would have kept just a couple delivery methods in the movie, because
you could have just had an egg in the corner with
funny.
it just hanging out in there.
That
would have been great.
So funny.
This would have been a little homage to readers, be like,
right. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, we get there, and then it gets super crazy, and then they're like, "Yep, we're out of here."
Yeah, out of control.
And why just stay there when you can leave?
Right. Well, one random thing that I see a lot of posts about on Harry Potter, like profiles and social media, is when Harry's in the movie, when all the letters are coming in, they're all over the place, and he's jumping up like for 5 minutes trying to catch one,
and they're on the floor,
and there's 1,000 on the floor. So that just always makes me laugh whenever I read this.
It's just like,
it's like, yeah, that's true, but
they're everywhere.
Just grab one off the floor, man.
Yeah, they're all there. So they pack their crap and leave.
Yeah, so they're going to leave because, I mean, I probably would leave in that situation. Obviously, they know where you're at, so let's leave. And they won't know where we're at.
Yeah. When he's driving, I just thought of like a very Muggle thing to do. To like, there's like someone tracking you. Like if he probably watches too much TV.
Right.
And like he's watched a show where it's like, you gotta shake him off. So he's like peering, trying to find his tail or whatever like that. And then all of a sudden he's just like, no.
Right.
Like in the middle of the freeway, I think it said. And I was just like, well, that seems interesting.
Man. Well, yeah, and they go, and I mean, long story short, they end up on an island.
Yeah.
And
after they stopped at a hotel.
After they stopped at just a regular hotel, but that clearly wasn't doing the trick.
Right.
So they are probably more Vernon than anything, but logically, let's go somewhere so remote, so unthought of that we won't be able to be found at all. Again, some more just regular human knowledge. Like, that makes sense. Like, especially back then, because who's gonna deliver a mail, or a letter
through, like, or at least you'd be able to see like where it's coming from.
Exactly.
So you're like, you're on an island. It's like kind of backing yourself into a corner. Like, you're gonna find where this is coming from.
Right, you'll be able to see. Yeah, you'll be able to see anything coming in, whatever.
Which doesn't make sense because you know there's owls.
Yeah. That's
at least in the movie. I don't know if it ever mentioned owls. In the movie, but
like, I don't know. I mean, with the way the owls acted after Voldemort died. Yeah. And they were all out and around. Anybody's guess as to what they were doing, but
party.
right. But he's got to know that there's something going on, especially if they keep finding where Harry's at, and it's keep being addressed specifically to where he's at.
Yes.
Like, there's something other than the post office, the post being involved. So they go to the island, and I mean, hang out. Like, I mean, I don't really know what they would actually do.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think they were all just kind of like,
just kind of hanging out.
Vernon's over there, like,
just the happiest he could ever be.
He's like, I wish we had some of those letters now. That'd be a good fire.
And then very end of it, it's midnight on Harry's birthday.
It was loud.
Yeah.
A little louder than that.
Yeah. And then there's a banging on the door, and
who's there?
Who's there?
Spoiler, it's Hagrid.
Yeah, spoiler, it is Hagrid.
All right, your favorite line?
My favorite line, it's a couple lines, but what's this? He asked Aunt Petunia. Her lips tightened as they always did. If he dared to ask a question, your new school uniform, she said. Harry looked in the bowl again. Oh, he said. I didn't realize it had to be so wet. So
it was a toss up, that one on there. He was like, oh.
It's just so funny because in the books, especially up until like the third and fourth one, there's just a lot of like jabs.
Yeah.
Like just like quick little jabs, and I remember as like a kid reading them, like I was like, yeah, I guess I didn't realize they had to be so wet either. Like logically thinking about it, and then now it's hilarious.
More underlying humor.
It's
especially
so
when
funny.
you're like, one thing I've noticed, like when I'm reading these, I'm looking for my one line.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's so much stuff.
Yeah, right.
And I'm trying not to
absolutely.
pick the funniest line every time, but there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially from Dumbledore in the first chapter. I guess the second chapter didn't really have too many like super funny things. There's a couple small
lines.
ones.
I think
just
this
like, one had a lot of
what's going on,
little
like,
jabs.
Lemon ice pop.
Yeah.
That like just that whole thing, and then Dudley ordering
that was
that,
more
and it's not
fun.
Just
not
like
funny.
No, absolutely. Yeah, not a whole lot of lines, but every now and again Harry comes through and is hilarious. Just straight up funny, and just a diva, as it were.
Yeah. Well, and I think going forward, instead of it being little like jabs, it's more like threatening jabs. But it's the same sort of like he's probably saying that more out of like temper than like humor, probably.
Fair enough.
So instead of like, oh, I didn't know they had to be so wet, it's like, I'm gonna blow up your aunt.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's the logical next step.
Exactly. I'm already kicked out of Hogwarts, so I'm gonna use magic on you.
It sucks for you. It doesn't suck for me. Well, it already sucks for me. It's not gonna get worse for me.
Right.
All right, first thing I kind of wanted to just either dive a little deeper into or talk about is, so they get their letter, right?
Yeah.
And you have the moment with Aunt Petunia and them like, oh crap, like they know.
You're right.
They know the seal.
Yeah.
How did they not know it was gonna come? Like at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because obviously, and they said, we were like, hey, we're gonna stomp this out of them.
Right.
And we won't have it, but like. Especially when we talked about in the last chapter, like there were signs.
Right, absolutely, and probably signs that she would have realized looking back.
Yeah,
Lily going to school.
Exactly.
I honestly, it beats me. The only thing I can think of is Vernon probably he was probably consistently worried about it, but he probably just forgot about
it.
That aspect of it.
He thought he would be able to it'd be like a thing where you could
just ignore it and
stamp it out,
yeah.
Like a fire. And he was like, oh yeah,
right.
There's no way he's won.
No respond to the letter, they'll give up.
Yeah. So that was just kind of one thing that stood out to me. I was just like, well, and then right into the next thing, did they think moving him upstairs, what was the point actually of moving him out of the cupboard? Was it just to throw the guy off or for the letter sender off, or is it to be like, oh, now we're going to treat you better because of something?
That, I think the latter is what I have always thought. They had to know that he was probably, or someone was keeping an eye on him, even if they didn't want to admit it, whatever.
Yeah.
And once it was addressed to the cupboard under the stairs,
oh crap.
they're like, oh shoot,
Child Protective Services.
Right, exactly. So we gotta treat him better so we don't look bad because whatever. Yeah. Maybe it's
just
a dumbed down version of that, but
or something
just to throw him for a loop. I don't know, but first of all, they know where he lives.
Yeah.
his street, that house number, all of it. So just moving him a room.
Yeah.
Would it? Yeah. It's the same house.
Yeah. So I guess that makes more sense. That it would be like, sorry.
Right.
But
that's just kind of what I always thought.
Especially since Dudley was giving him so much whiplash. He made himself throw up.
yeah.
And he beat the crap out of people with this stick, and still didn't get his way. And that had never happened for him before.
Right.
So obviously it was something they were like, oh, we gotta.
Right. No, exactly. It's important enough to not have your kids spoiled in one aspect.
Yeah.
Because he's so spoiled. But not enough so they treat him differently. Just okay, well, we gotta keep up some sort of appearance.
Yeah, exactly.
But then we're just gonna burn all this crap anyway.
Right.
And I think there has to be some way for wizards to know what happens to the letters they send.
Yeah.
Like
if they're, because obviously that was one thing I was kind of thinking, the magic behind them sending.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's some, if it's following you to hotels. And this, so like a magical trace.
Yeah.
It's oh, this is where he's staying. Okay, that's where it's gonna go. But yeah, you would think, and I think we can talk about it a little bit more in the next episode when it talks about him not getting the letters.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because it's kind of you think something's got to be tracking your spell getting bigger.
Right.
Because it is going on hundreds and hundreds
exactly.
of letters at this point. So it just kind of be maybe someone should stop in. Which eventually, because think about Hagrid was probably sent when they were going to the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. That's
so he's okay, well, because he's not traveling by magic, so it's at least a day.
Right. Yeah, there's
at 12 hours, but still that same magic obviously was okay, this is where he is.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because the trace.
Right.
But he's not really doing magic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
But I think that, and I don't know the whole, because the whole book and the pen, checks and balance system sort of deal.
Yeah.
If they know about it, then I'm pretty sure they just get tagged basically magically, and it's just okay, well, we're gonna make sure he comes. We're gonna make sure he comes. He comes. So maybe that wears off as soon as they get to Hogwarts or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that's its purpose of whatever magic is going on there.
It's an autonomous way of using magic, so where not one or not a department, whatever of people are actively doing this. It's we're gonna use magic for that, and this is how we check in.
It could
whatever.
be a department, maybe, but I don't think that the ministry would be that involved. But maybe they could, it's recruiting in their countries.
That's true.
Or country. So anyway, interesting thought. I don't really know the answer to, but that was one thing that just popped in my head and just I wonder how that works.
This random question. So Hagrid,
yes.
uses.
We don't know him yet.
Right. Spoilers.
Yeah.
So he uses. He's allowed to use some form of magic to get to / find Harry. Right. Do you think it's more to get to Harry, to find him, or is it more physically? Obviously, he's not going he's not apparating or using the Flu Network or anything.
Yeah.
But just being able to find him, it's more of use this. Is he using a spell? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Because that's something I always thought about. And
I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like that. What's going on with the Illuminator?
Okay.
But obviously, because he's homies with Dumbledore, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's how Dumbledore got the idea for the Deluminator, is because he knew how recruiting worked.
Fair enough.
He took that, worked it into something that comes from you instead of a book, and it leads you to where you need. So then maybe Hagrid got that, because obviously Dumbledore was pretty lax with Hagrid could do.
Right. Yeah. True.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
What do you got? What else do you got? I only think I have one other thing that I wanted to bring up, but it's more of like a summary thing.
Okay. Well, what? I mean, we talked about a lot. Just the letters changing address. I thought that was like being addressed specifically to where he was staying. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I think pretty. Maybe not necessary is not the right word, but like, it helps you kind of start to believe in magic because up to this point, there's not a whole lot.
You haven't seen anything complex.
Yeah.
It's just like minor occurrences.
Exactly.
But then this is just kind of like it's powerful.
Exactly. Something's happening.
This is some stuff going on.
Right. Yeah. And even if you don't think about it the first time, I'm sure I didn't think of it the first time I read it.
I probably didn't think about it the first 3 or 4 times.
Right. But yeah, just kind of like one of those things where you go back and you're like, oh yeah, I guess.
I wonder how often it happens. And like when, because obviously I'm sure there's people who have had their name down that don't go there.
Sure.
So I wonder if it's just like, well, maybe that just doesn't get ignored.
Fair.
I'm sure like as soon as someone, like it gets to a point and then someone comes to like visit or whatever. Because obviously like, let's say in Tom Riddle's circumstance, like he's living at the orphanage. Sure, there's been a letter or two there, but they have to be more conspicuous about, not revealing themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
To where someone would open it.
Yeah.
It would have to be just like what Dumbledore did. Hey,
yeah,
you've got a spot in our school. Can I come meet you?
Yeah.
Sort of deal. Whereas like, they know that the Dursleys know about magic.
Right, yeah, so
you're not spoiling anything.
Laws.
And you know that they're not going to go tell their neighbors, hey, come check, come check out what's going on over here.
Exactly.
Like, that's not something that's going to happen. No. So I'm sure it's very circumstantial.
Yeah, for sure.
About what happens and different stuff. What else?
Just a broad concept of, I know it mentioned like, he getting a letter addressed to him. Like gave him identity, and I just thought that was a really cool thing to point out because you think about it, he's gone through almost 11 years of his life. Well, I guess he was 1 when he was over there, so shorter. Anyway, but he's gone through his
9 years there.
Yeah, so he's gone through all this time. No reason for him to get a letter for anything, not even like a credit card app,
Yeah.
Absolutely no reason for him to get mail.
Maybe like a report card or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That might have just been like given to them.
Exactly.
Or would come in the same envelope, so it'd have both of their names on it, sort
exactly.
of deal. Or it'd be addressed to the parents.
Or maybe they got a post office box that they set up so that he doesn't get letters sent directly to their house if there was one.
So like the non-magical thing of what happened in the second book.
Yeah, exactly.
If it says Harry, forward it this way.
Yeah, forward it this way. But I just thought that was really cool.
No, and it makes a lot of sense. Like think back, like obviously now it's just email and stuff, but I think when I grew up, like you got a piece of mail with your name on it. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
If someone wanted to talk to you or you got something or something like that. So Harry, who doesn't have anything, all of a sudden he's like, cool.
Well, and then kind of just segueing into this, what if you were to get a letter like that? If you were to get your Hogwarts letter, do you think if you had no idea what magic was, you were in the same situation, you just saw the envelope, your name, whatever? Do you think you would think it was from a school? What do you think it would like? Yeah. What do you think it would come from?
I don't know. Maybe like. I don't think... Well, for them, maybe school more. Because I think they
have like a crest
or some sort of... But like here, like maybe it would be like if it had a fancy like stamp.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell if there's a government stamp on something. Yeah. So maybe... 11-year-old me is not going to know any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
Exactly.
I don't know. Like, he just kind of said, like, you can tell that it was, a different... piece of paper, like this is parchment, not just like paper,
copy paper, printer paper.
Because what year is this? This is 1990.
I was born in 81.
So 1991, then almost 92. Could have been 92, depending on years and stuff. But
yeah.
Anyway, so
right. When's the leap year fall?
Yeah, what's the leap year?
Where are the stars aligned?
Yeah. No. Not in astrology. But
yeah, I just thought that was a cool
they're not using parchment paper
yeah.
for normal mail.
Right.
So maybe he thought, I don't know. I don't know what I would have thought.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know either.
If it was something like completely just like, because it was completely different.
Right.
I don't know. I'd maybe think school, because what else are they doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it'd be like I don't know, military school or something.
Fair.
Where it's like, yeah, you got applied for this.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're coming, so.
But even then, you think it would have some sort of parent or guardian's name on it too.
Like, yeah, like a care of sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, interesting. I really don't. I think I'd just be like, what?
Yeah, like, I was trying to think about that. Well, yeah, exactly. I was trying to think about that and what I would think, and I mean, if it's the same exact situation, I would have thought probably nothing, maybe school, just because.
Right. Or like some sort of government something.
Yeah, because it's got like it looks official.
Yeah.
But here, yeah, I have no idea because anything I've gotten or nothing I've gotten has a wax seal.
Yeah.
And a crest.
Right.
Although that's not true. I think I've gotten.
I mean, some universities have.
Actually,
crests,
I think
college stuff.
I think Josh's wedding invitation had a wax seal.
Oh, it did.
So I take that back. But
in
general,
that would probably be the only two things you could think of. Is one, you're getting invited to something, or two, something school related.
Yeah, I think logically.
Yeah.
Especially
since he was just like in between, like he just finished.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
Whatever British people call that section of school.
Yeah.
Schooling, and then going on to the next one, it'd be like, oh, maybe I'm not going to Stonewall.
Maybe he thought it was just like the same thing.
Yeah.
But just for his next leg of school,
magic.
Not for magic. I mean, that's
the last thing I want to talk about is don't take life don't take life advice from Vernon Dursley.
Yeah.
If you have a problem, his first step was 1, ignore it, 2, run from it.
Yeah.
If you have problems, don't ignore them, and don't run from it. Just
I mean, just
go
through
head on.
It.
And if he would have just then, like, even if he writes back no, like, for him, that would have been a way better course of action.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
him.
And
he's not going.
And I think that would have been acceptable.
It probably would have stopped, yeah.
Right?
Someone still would have came because it's Harry Potter.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But that would have been
like, whoa.
Yeah.
Harry's not coming?
Yeah.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Hold my jug. Yeah, hold my barrel. So that was just one thing I was thinking. It was just like,
yeah.
He could have, from his perspective, should have handled it better.
Yeah, 100%. And then, it probably would have been a lot less disdain and resentment moving forward. Because then, spoilers. No, I don't want to give the spoiler away. But then some people might not have a pigtail.
So looking forward to the next episode. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too.
Because we really get we get our first actual, like some more magic stuff.
Like conjuring, more like conjuring.
We get some explaining and things, so we can have opinions on those.
Yes.
And then a lot of good stuff, and then episode after that we get Diagon Alley, and that's gonna be dope.
Probably one of my favorite chapters.
So be sure to subscribe.
Comment if you want.
Yeah, for sure. We'll talk to you. Give us a rating if you're listening to us on iTunes.
You can find us on SoundCloud as well. Spellcast podcast.
What do you do? Do you subscribe to podcasts on the podcast app?
On Apple Podcasts?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you subscribe to it.
There. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Drop a like. Give a 5-star. You're not gonna miss it. We're finally starting to get into some bulk of some things. So.
Yeah, thankfully.
I mean, first 3 chapters, it's just kind of like meh, but we're really
starting to get into the introduction of an obsessive
Before you know,
fandom.
we'll be on the way to Hogwarts for the first time together, and it's gonna be Lumos. Anyways, that'll do it for us today on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you.
Until next time, guys, good night and good magic.